fucking go.
Here we fucking go. Ça marche-tu ça? Ça marche pas, ça tabarnak. Et ça. What up tout le monde? Aujourd'hui c'est ma fête, on est le 16 janvier. Comme cadeau de fête, Foxhole ont décidé de dropper leur live stream today. Fait qu'on va regarder ça tout ensemble. Fucking night, on va faire quelques minutes sauter, faire plein d'affaires. Maimou est à côté, Bella aussi. Oh yeah. Damn boys. We love those fucking devs. 4000 personnes sur le live stream. Let's go. Can't fucking wait. Tout est dans le tapis. Qu'est-ce que... Le son ici, moi je l'aime. Airborne fucking shit. Ça va tout changer. Qu'est-ce qu'elle se connaît?
Putain, il avait la patate dans l'œil, il essaie de se voler les faut arrêter, regarde! C'est même bizarre! Là, je t'en ai.
Peut-être.
Ya! 4200 personnes. Il y a 2 secondes, 3000 kicks. Let's fucking go! Tout ça pendant le même temps que je travaille sur Planet Warz. Textures.
Est-ce que mon arrêt de copy-paste ça?
Le mec qui fait moins 20, dis.
Quoi?
Le mec qui fait moins 20,
Ça se peut-tu? Moins vino.
C'est fait!
Ben voyons, bébé. On veut le fight. On peut revoir le fight. Oh shit, it's fucking starting. The music is here. Ramamapapapapapam.
C'est pas la journée du match.
It's fucking starting.
Hello.
Woo, my boys.
Welcome to our no longer bi-monthly dev stream. This is the Airborne preview update that we are going to be presenting today. We have a ton of stuff to talk about, and while we have not talked in a really long time here in Foxhole land, I'm going to hand it over to Mark so that he can catch you up. And we can
Foxhole land.
Yeah, it's been a big
boy.
update and finally exciting.
Is
We've
it
been
Cat
waiting
Hunter?
for a long time. and we're finally really excited to show you guys what we've been working on all this time. First, I want to just talk a little bit about what led to this update. You know, we for those that are new, we set out to build Foxhole almost 10 years now, just about.
Ça fait 10 ans quasiment que je travaille sur Foxhole.
War where there's thousands of players working together, not just on the combat side, but for every aspect of the war, making items, running supply lines, every aspect of the war we wanted it to be driven by players. And there was really just a few simple principles.
You guys created the perfection, something that never existed before.
Gameplay, we haven't been afraid to try new things or to take risks, even
God vision.
sometimes we miss the mark on some of these things, which we have. We always tried to just continue to work at it, to iterate, to improve upon, but we've never shied away from trying to tackle big new features that we felt were crucial to fulfill the vision of the game, which Airborne is one of those, as you'll hopefully see today. And what we're going to show you today represents just one of the bigger steps in the journey. It's
the
one
journey
of
that
the
makes
updates we worked on up to this point, and after 63 updates,
63
there's a lot of partnerships.
update.
It's not only Airborne, there's other things we have to show, and we're excited to show it. So, just wanted to show a brief update for those that are new.
Yo, all those fucking updates, man.
Summary of the updates we've done over the years. All the art that we've done for it.
Yo, 0.7.
There's actually more updates than what's shown here, but we got to the point where we're doing all this. So,
God
but
damn.
yeah, let's jump into the first part of
Entrenched, revamped everything. Inferno brought some fucking trains.
We'll start with this video.
Oh shit, here we go. It's maybe the old video. Okay, no, that's a new fucking video. Yo! Les graphiques ont été changés. Woo! Let's go! Sky view rendering. Yo, we got some cloud!
Yeah, so this is the first big feature we want to show off of the update.
Graphic overall. Let's go. Put it in the fucking
Overhaul of all the visuals.
put it in the fucking visual mod.
To be specific.
So
and one of
good.
there's a couple of goals that we had for this. One is that we felt that other parts of the game, like the vehicles and the structures, had increased. We've increased the visual quality of them over the years as we've worked on the game. And one thing that we wanted to do was to go back to the actual world and the environment and
Go
to
back,
bring
we have to go
visuals
back.
of those parts of the game up to the standards of everything else. So this was a massive effort. We've updated every tree, every blade of grass, every bush in the game. And we've also done this for each of the biomes in the game. We had to create new art for all of this, but the result is an environment that looks a lot more up to date with the rest of the game. And another big goal of this was when we came to work on Airborne, we really wanted to make sure that the world looked appropriate from high up in the sky, and a lot of the environment that we had originally made was not made to look appropriate from that high of a camera angle. So besides the actual visual art, we also did a bunch of engineering work to make rendering look appropriate from the sky. In fact, when we first tested out flying planes, the world looked very strange. A lot of the environment was not visible because of the way that the world was rendered, and we had to put a lot of work into making sure that shadows and structures and rocks and trees were all being shown from afar. And this has just been a massive massive effort. When you design a game to be made on the ground initially, and later on you want to make the game playable from the sky, it is a lot of work. So we're really excited about this. But Matt, maybe you can talk a little bit more about the process here.
Yeah, so one of the big things that we wanted to do was to make sure that the game still felt like Foxhole. We didn't want it to suddenly become something new or like hyper realistic, but we wanted to bring some of the visuals more in line, both thematically as well as just with the way that the art had kind of evolved in different ways. And so I wouldn't expect there to be like a whole bunch of new like little details or like facets to the world that weren't there before. It's just that a lot of the world has been updated, especially like we're talking like the natural environment, so foliage, grass, some of the some of the town textures and things like that have been updated. And one of the places that I think especially benefits a lot from the work that we've done here is the northern biome, which was a little bit flat, in my opinion, previously.
So those are not new town; those are only town that got reskinned.
Good solutions at the time for the way that we were doing some of the art, our workflow. So we also changed the workflow for how a lot of this stuff is done, which allows us to get a little bit more out of every like inch of the world without having to do a ton of like manual like work that would be otherwise incredibly time consuming for a team as small as ours. So we were able to take some of our experience and reapply it, given that we were doing this big overhaul. So a lot of what you're going to see is new areas that maybe feel like they have or pretty old areas that maybe feel like they have a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah,
and, it'll be kind of exciting
reskin town.
To see
Let's
how,
go.
Like videos and things like that come about as you guys dig into this. But one of the other big things is we are doing our absolute very, very best to make sure that like if you could play Foxhole well previously, you will be able to play Foxhole well now on the same sort of settings that you had before. That's the goal. Hopefully we will be able to continue to iterate and update and make sure that performance is where it needs to be, as well as the dev branch goes through and everything like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you getting your hands on this stuff.
The Foxhole GeoGuessr is going to need some major updates.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now let's
Did you say the Foxhole
let's get into the meat of the update. So let's talk about Airborne, right? So one of the things we did at the beginning was we wanted to set our goals straight for this update, because our goal was not to build the best flight simulator or to try to make a game to try to build an aircraft game that is comparable to other aircraft focused games. Our goal was to build the best thing that will make the parts of Foxhole special even more special, right? So we wanted to enhance the persistent war, and what we wanted to do was not only worry about what you're doing in the sky, but to worry about what's happening on the ground. Questions like, how do you build a plane? That should be a big deal in Foxhole. How do you supply the plane? How do ground crews keep your aircraft operational? These were the parts of aircraft and aircraft gameplay that we wanted to focus the most on, and we also wanted to just make sure that it worked really well with the land and naval warfare games as well. And finally, large
Come on, I just want to go.
collaboration. We want to make sure that the big focus was on working together. If you're up in the skies, you can
1
be
million
most
mats
effective
to
not by
build
flying
one
alone
plane.
on your own trying to be a hero, but to work together with your crew on the ground. So that was a big focus of the gameplay. And without further ado, we want to give you guys a first look at how flying planes looks like in Foxhole. Let's take a look.
Oh shit, my.
See ya. Fully player piloted aircraft. Holy fucking shit. Yo, he started from the ground. Then he fucking went up. I'm all the way up. Nothing can stop me. Yo. This is fucking crazy. Are you gonna be able to drop fucking soldiers from the sky? Yo, on top of fucking boats. This is cray-cray. Oh, wow. Yo, this is crazy. The bombardment. Oh, no, killing Logi with the fucking plane. Yo, your plane will break and you will fall. Holy snap. Oh!
All right.
That was crazy.
That's how aircraft are gonna work in Foxhole. So let's just talk about some of the basics first.
Crazy.
Aircraft are fully controlled by players. It kind of goes without saying. There's different types of aircraft. There's fighters. There's bombers. There's scout planes. Other types of planes. And one of the things that we've done is we've chosen a level of simulation here for the planes that's designed to feel similar to other parts of the game. So we weren't trying to make an accurate flight simulator. We wanted to make it feel like
That's
it's the
good.
same style
That's
of
good.
infantry gameplay, of the vehicle gameplay, and the Neo gameplay that we already had. But one thing that is a slight difference is that a high level of skill, more
That
so than
was
other parts of
crazy,
the game,
guys. Crazy.
more skill is required to fly. Um, there is failure in flying. When you take off and land, these are things that you have to practice to try to get right. It's not something that you can necessarily get right on the first try. And that's in
Skill
part because
is
the flight
required
model
to
was
fly.
made
Ça se peut que tu t'en vas discret avec ta première avion.
to feel physically based,
Quand tu peux te
as
gâcher.
parts of your aircraft are
That's kind of
wrecked.
fuck. You spend so many times.
The physics
kill your
model
fucking plane
will
just by
react to
taking
that,
off?
and the plane becomes
J'ai
harder
reçu
to
mes
fly.
relevés.
So that's all to say that the flying experience is going to be a step up from driving a boat or driving a tank in the game. And to that end, crashing is a part of the game as well. And there is an eject function as well. You can eject from your plane if you're equipped with a parachute, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. Then you can survive the crash. Finally, aircraft can cross the region borders similar to the land vehicles. And to get a little bit more into user interface, talking about aircraft
There's the
being a bit
fucking
more skill-based,
HCD.
more information was
There's the,
required for the player on the HUD. So this is what the aircraft HUD looks like.
Sick, it's gonna be
in-game.
fucking
And
complex
to go
and
over a couple of these
complicated.
things here, the
Why is
VSI
it
and
always
the heading right there
complicated?
are useful to help players
Yeah, my
find
why?
to locate airfields and to land. And then the altitude and the ground instruments are there to help you do a pair drop, or if you're doing a bombing run, that's information that it is critical for that. And also there's a landing gear indicator because that's a big part of
Bébé.
taking off and landing. And then finally the altitude indicator here just helps. It's an indicator that helps, that is on not only your plane but on
We see the
planes
type
around
of
you.
bullets on top.
And then
That's
the
dope.
next thing I want to talk about is uniforms. So
Uniform.
pilot uniforms are required to fly most planes in the game. And one thing to note is that the uniforms themselves are valuable. And the other thing, moreover, to state, which we'll get into more later, is that the planes themselves are extremely valuable resources, and the uniforms and the pilot themselves is considered a part of that value. So when you're flying up there, you would want to prefer to salvage your plane as opposed to crashing it, and that's both because of the plane and the pilot uniform. But I do want to note that there are some planes in the game, specifically the scout plane, that it doesn't require a pilot uniform, and therefore it's more accessible to more players. So not everyone is gonna have to engage with this high value planes. You can, everyone's gonna get a chance to fly. And to jump ahead here to the roles, so there's like Foxhole fashion, there's different roles that players can take on. Obviously, there's the pilots, there's the gunners, and that works very similar to how it works in other vehicles. There's other roles here, like the bomber role. You're there to manage the bay doors and to drop the bombs. And there's also a co-pilot role on planes like the paratrooper plane that's responsible for opening the ramp for a paradrop. And then there's also other roles here like managing the air brake on some planes like the dive bomber. Moving on to air combat for a moment here. So fighters can intercept and engage the bombers, paratrooper planes, and other aircraft. And those aircraft themselves can fight back the fighters. And one thing I do want to talk about here is the damage models on the planes. So let me just orient this here. So the the damage model is a big part of the gameplay. Aircraft consist of different parts: wings, tails, and engines, and these parts can be wrecked or totaled. And as that happens, as damage is taken, the function of the aircraft will start to fail in different ways. The aircraft is going to be harder to fly, and the physics are going to react to it, right? So if your wing is torn off, you will start to struggle. If your tail is torn off, you will start to struggle even more, and you probably won't be able to fly the plane anymore. But as mentioned about the value of the plane, um, you will want to land your plane at that point and try to salvage it as opposed to crashing. So a big part of the game is trying to manage when it's time to return to your airfield and to try to fix your plane as opposed to losing it out there. And
God damn, that's gonna be hard.
at this point, Max, I think I'm going to hand it over to you.
I'm gonna tell you right now, my plane is going on the one-way trip.
We had,
I ain't
we had a
coming
lot of
back.
fun with this. So an aircraft can,
That's gonna be fucking dope.
sorry. We are simulating a simple form of physics with these aircraft. So a lot of what I learned a lot about aircraft works from working on these aircraft, but you'll start to get a sense for it once you start to feel the aircraft fall apart. Exactly how integrated the physics are into these aircraft. So, for example, when a wing gets wrecked, like you can see in the top left there, the lift of that wing is going to decrease, which is going to tilt the aircraft to the left and sort of pull the aircraft left. But you can offset that by using your rudder or your elevators to sort of shift right. And like I said, you'll get a sense for it once you're actually flying it. But it's really cool that as the aircraft starts to fall apart, as parts become damaged or wrecked and destroyed, that the aircraft starts to lose its functionality, starts to become harder to maneuver, might even like start to climb and stall out. So the more practice you have in these aircraft, the better you're going to be as a pilot, but also the more likely you are going to be able to return to the airfield if you're taking significant damage. And as Mark pointed out, you'll want to try to recover the aircraft, even if you are taking tremendous amounts of damage. Even if you can't make it all the way back to the airfield, you might aim to land in friendly territory, for example, because even recovering parts of the plane would be a significant advantage or a significant cost savings to replacing it. So there's a lot of different kinds of actions that you can take as these aircraft. We've got the bombing runs, which you're meant to target land targets like facilities and soft structures. You can damage bunkers as well, but the expectation here is you should need a number of bombers to be able to do significant damage. We have dive bombers, which will be able to target land and sea vehicles. They'll have bonuses to subsystem disable chances. Torpedo planes, which obviously target ships. We got some really cool mechanics with that as well, which we'll get into later. And strafing runs. So the fighters will be able to target, like, they're predominantly meant for targeting logistics and disrupting like ground-based like back behind the line's efforts, but you can also strafe frontline targets. But fighters have other roles as well, like protecting against bombing runs and shooting down scout planes.
All right, let's take a look at anti-air.
Someone in chat is like, how do you even target? Yeah, you'll see. It's fun. So there'd be two kinds of machine guns. There'll be two kinds of anti-air that you can utilize against the aircraft. Some of the machine guns will be able to tilt up and be able to target aircraft directly, like fighters when you're coming in for a strafing run. Many of the ships will be able to do this. So true to history, the machine guns on the decks of the ships will help prevent runs against the ship. And then we have these cannons, which are these anti-air emplacements, these flak guns, which will operate very similarly to artillery. They shoot into the sky, and you have to try to land hits. There'll be an explosion that lingers in the air that planes could fly through and take damage. Again, true to history. And it will require team effort to try to hit something moving that fast, that high.
All right, we'll just take a really quick look at the emplacements for each side.
Yeah, so this is the Colonial one. Both of these, the Colonial one and the Warden one, are very similar in functionality. There'll be one gunner who's there for to rotate it and also set the range, and the one gunner who actually has to set the pitch as well. So it's not done automatically. You have to figure out the pitch for the gun that needs to point up, and then try to figure that out or figure out the pitch needed to get the elevation you want to hit the aircraft in the sky. Here's the Warden one. Again, functionality is very similar. Cool. So how do you spot them coming? How do you know when to get on the AA guns? Well, we've got a couple of forms of air intelligence. We've actually split intel between land and air, so you can't see both at the same time. You'll want to see. So you'll have to set up specific structures for detecting aircraft, and then you'll have to utilize them for alerting your team that there's an air operation underway. So this is the radar structure. This is a new large structure, which has two functions. One is the detection of air intel, similar to like a watchtower, but for detecting aircraft. It has a very large cone that you can rotate, so you can point it in the direction that you want it to face for detecting aircraft. It also has a seat that will be useful for the aforementioned pitch, trying to figure out the range, the distance for artillery batteries to target aircraft. So you'll want to place your AA batteries near these structures to maximize your effectiveness.
Okay. Now let's talk about aircraft logistics with this video coming up.
This shit looks crazy. It's just my birthday. Everybody's calling me.
There's a lot of questions in chat. I just want to remind you guys, we will do Reddit QA later, so don't worry about it. As Mark said for earlier on, the emphasis that we really wanted, or we didn't want to lose focus of what Foxhole really is. This Foxhole is a game that takes place on the ground. It's a logistics game. It's an infantry game. It's a tank game, a naval game. Everything that happens on the ground should be as important as everything new that we're adding here. So Airborne, as much as it is the center of this update, we also wanted to make sure that we brought it back down to earth. What is it that you need to do to get aircraft running? What do you need to do to keep it maintained? A lot of our effort, like we said in the devlog back in December, is supposed to be focused on the ground crews. It's well and good that it takes a lot of skill to be a pilot in the air, but you have to. What good is a pilot without the team that's dedicated to keeping their aircraft in tip-top shape? So, toward that end, we have airfields. These are placed throughout the world. These are world structures. But they are not the only places where you can take off some aircraft. So the airfields will be required for specific air operations. It will consist of 3 main structures: the runway itself, which has 2 tiers for tier 1 for smaller aircraft, tier 2 for larger. It's got a hangar for building the smaller aircraft, like the scout planes, and it's got an aircraft depot for storing the planes and constructing them and bringing stuff in. And it sort of acts as the central logistical point for that airfield. Think of it kind of like a seaport, but for aircraft. So how we build the aircraft. So this is where a lot of the teamwork comes in. So just like with large ships, how it requires a whole team to operate, not just people manning the guns, but people maintaining the ship itself. There will need to be a team of people who are keeping your aircraft running. And furthermore, they need to be out in the open. We really wanted it to be not some like UI thing. We wanted it to be all out in the open. You could see people walking around on the airfield, putting stuff together. So you'll build the airframe, which is constructed at the large assembly station. You'll bring that to the depot, which creates this, you can see in the background image, this kind of like airframe that's sort of missing all of its parts. Then you'll construct the parts, bring them over on trailers and small trains, and then submit them to the aircraft to put it together. There'll be many different kinds of parts that you need to for different kinds of aircraft, and then you'll need to produce the ammunition at factories and at the ammunition factories. An important note is that even a lot of this sounds really complicated, and it's meant to be a team effort, but there is a small aircraft, that scout plane, that you can build without doing any of this. That doesn't need any facilities or anything. So smaller groups of players can choose to operate smaller aircraft, which will have less complexity. But even solo players can get a taste of flight by playing in the scout plane without dealing with any of this stuff. So here's a screenshot of here's screenshots of generally what this will look like. You'll need to refuel your aircraft, which will be a huge part of aircraft. Having airfields that are close to the front will allow you to refuel them and get more flight time and give you an advantage in dogfights or in operational range. You'll need to assemble them together as a team. This can take time, and disassemble as well for repairing. When aircraft takes damage, it's a process to get those parts repaired. You'll need to take them off. You'll need to repair the underlying core structure, and you'll need to rearm them as well. So you'll have to bring in the ammunition necessary. Some of them are large items, some of them are not. And yeah, it should be. Our expectation is that over time, or is that there will be a whole host of people on the ground. Air traffic controllers, even repair crew directors, people needed to keep flights of aircraft in the sky.
Awesome. And I think we're about on schedule, Max, for this next part, which I'm personally pretty excited about. So let's get to it. right, let's talk about paratroopers. So, just to talk about how you equip and prepare for a paratrap, you obviously need a paratrooper plane. You need a pilot and a co-pilot to fly it. And if you want to suit up, you need a uniform and a paratrooper backpack, which obviously contains the paratrooper. I mean, the parachute. And everybody walks onto the ramp and they load up onto the paratrooper plane, and the pilot flies it to the target location. Co-pilot will open the ramp, and to actually paradrop, it doesn't take much. You just walk off the ramp, and your parachute will automatically open. Um, and then that's essentially how it works if you want to drop behind enemy lines. One important feature here is that once once you jump out and once you hit the ground, paratroopers will be invisible to map intel for a period of time after dropping. Right now, that's around 30 minutes, but that time duration is obviously subject to change. And we'll just want to take a look at the two uniforms here. Here's the colonial uniform, and here is the warden one. And then there's also the backpack item here that is required to drop. And just to note, if you can jump out without a parachute, which is not a good idea. If you're over encumbered, your parachute will fail to deploy as well. So it's possible to have accidents, and you need to be prepared. So and having said that, I think it's time to look at the aircraft for each faction, and I guess we will start with the colonials here. All right.
Man, it's hard to believe how much time has gone by since we started working on these. It's been like 8 months. I know you get the community. You probably felt like it's been years, but
Oh, it's been a lot longer than that. When we started working on the prototype, it's been almost 2 years. So
that's true.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you want to get really, really technical, I mean, we did a prototype of this like 5 years ago or something.
I think we started. I think we started writing code about 2 years ago. I could be off by a couple of months, but yeah, I think it's been about 2 years. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so let's go through these aircraft one at a time. Let's give you guys a general sense of what we're expecting to see from them. But of course, a reminder that a lot of this stuff could change in Dev Branch, so try to take that with a grain of salt. This is the Colonial Scout plane. This is the plane that you will be flying if you're just a solo player and you just want to get into the sky and see what it's like. The purpose of this aircraft is it can drop mines, surface water mines, which we'll get into a little bit later. And it has very limited ammo for dogfighting, but it can potentially fight other scout planes, and it can also do a couple of strafing runs. The Colonial Fighter. This is kind of the centerpiece of all of the planes. It kind of functions as the linchpin for the entire arsenal. It's predominantly used for countering other aircraft. If an enemy is doing a bombing run, for example, this is the premier way of stopping it. It's also used for dogfighting, other fighters. It shoots down scout planes pretty well. And it takes only one pilot. So, but again, as we said earlier, it's all the ground crew is important too. You'll have to keep these things rearmed and refueled. The dive bomber. This is my personal favorite.
This is one of my favorite. It's so fun. I don't know
It's so fun.
It's so fun.
You can so yeah. So this is able to drop bombs on both tanks and ships. Its main advantage is that it damages the turret, or it has subsystem disable chances. So if you're attacking ships, for example, you'll want to try your best to get a precise hit on the turrets in order to disable them. And that's why it's a dive bomber. The act of diving down towards the ship is what gives it its accuracy, and to try to drop that bomb exactly where you need it to go will be important for the effectiveness of this.
And there's actually another function.
It was my pops. So my mom and my pops called me for my birthday during the live stream. Yeah, who's gonna be next? No, nobody. Why?
But it also has an air brake. So
Fuck you, babe.
Which will slow its descent, making that targeting.
She fucking calls me just to scare me.
Teamwork and skill.
A 2-player crew. Yo, those planes are
Paratrooper plane.
kind of dope.
So yeah, as Mark said, you'll be able to launch air operations and drop partisans behind enemy lines. They'll be invisible to intel for about 30 minutes again.
But what is this sign?
That, like,
this white sign on the side?
Time, partisans have been struggling in our game. They've just logistics is such a core part of our game. We had to be very careful not to disrupt their experience too much. And this paratrooper plane is kind of our opportunity to go back to some of that experience. Feeling unsafe in the back lines is supposed to be a part of Foxhole.
Wow, Miley. Tu marches bien, ma belle.
Listening to you guys' feedback about that.
Ma caméra coucou. Hey, Denis, mords-la pas. C'est non, ça, tu mords jamais, Miley. Non.
The Colonial Heavy Bomber, this tremendous number of bombs, does a tremendous amount of damage. But the expectation here is that you shouldn't fight with them. It shouldn't just be one guy in one bomber doing tremendous amounts of damage. It's supposed to be a whole wing of them flying in formation, trying to drop their bombs on the same target. If you can do
it's
that,
a plane. No, it's a Miley.
and one of the most effective ways to counter it will be with fighters.
It's a Miley plane.
And
boom.
possibly
atterrissage.
Starts to take damage and starts to go down. You'll want to try to find a way to recover them without going down behind.
Tu viens d'elle, toi?
All right, that does it for the Colonial aircraft lineup, and now let's move on to the Wardens.
I want to see the Wardens. They did a trailer for both sides. That's dope. Deux dans le fridge, tu mets le reste à côté de la caisse à Jessie qu'on va tout boire. Ouais. So, tu fais avec les caisses avec les bières vides, tu remets dans ta caisse. Yo, seaplane! Oh, those gonna be fuckers. We're gonna kill so many people with them. Bomber! Torpedo! Torpedo, Miley! And boom! Pow, 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 pow. Wow! Coup de pied! Boom! Crazy! So many planes, Miley. Holy shit, you're gonna be able to walk inside! That's crazy! No way! Woohoo! Yeah! That update's gonna be sick, guys!
Cool. The Warden Scout plane. I forgot to mention this about the Colonial Scout plane. They both float on water, as you can see from the video.
No way, on the water.
Again, we'll talk more about it later. Similar to the Colonial Scout plane, this one, or Recon plane, the this Warden recon plane drops a mini torpedo. So
A
again,
mini
useful over
torpedo
water, meant to counter
from
small
Mighty
ships.
Torpedo.
It's got limited ammo capacity for shooting its machine gun, but its primary purpose is to support early game and small ship naval. The Warden Sea Fighter. So this is an extra plane, which I'll talk more about a little bit later. But
An
this is an
extra
that the Wardens get, and
plane.
Colonials don't. So you'll notice the Wardens actually get this one extra fighter, and I will explain why later. This is a fighter. It's more limited in its ammo capacity. It's slower in speed than the Warden fighter, but it does provide some more short-range options, like being able to land and take off from water. The Warden Fighter. This one is is symmetrical to the Colonial one, but they're not exactly the same. They both have a different feel to it. But this one has a 14.5 millimeter cannon, which is actually the AT rifle ammo, the 20 millimeter that you guys are used to. We just changed we're changing the name because 20 millimeter was
Did you
ridiculous.
poo-poo?
We're walking around with that. So
No.
it's got the
Stinky
secondary
baby.
armament is an AT rifle that will allow it to target
Elle a sûrement pété. She
lighter
farted.
vehicles like armored cars, on the ground, as well as strafing targets.
Oh wow. Planes.
Torpedo bomber. This one is my second favorite ship.
Oh.
And they're pretty close between this one and the dive bomber. This one drops 2 torpedoes. What I love about this one is to get the torpedoes into it's loaded up. You have to do the wrench thing, just like the submarines, which I just think feels really, really great. When you drop torpedoes, this is important. Take notes.
When you drop the
when you drop
torpedo,
torpedoes, you have to be a certain height above the water. If you're too high above the water, it'll detonate on the surface. But even at the height, if you're too high, the torpedo has to sort of go down into the water and then come back up to the surface. So if you're still pretty high, but and you drop the torpedo, you could miss your target by having the torpedo basically go under the ship that you're trying to hit. So you want to try to give yourself a lot of run time, and you want to try to get as close to the surface of the water as possible to keep the torpedo on the surface.
Actually, it's funny, Max, because I felt the same about the dive bomber being my favorite first, and then I saw this one in action later on, and I'm like, I think I'm changing my position.
You guys are wrong. The dive bomber is cool.
So here's the paratrooper plane. Again, similar to the Colonial one, this one functions a little bit differently with where the parts are located.
Merde, j'aurais pas dû la prendre, celle-là.
It's pretty similar. There's actually something I forgot to mention about the previous paratrooper plane. They also carry crates. This one carries a little bit more than the Colonial one, but they can carry crates on them, which are represented on the interior, which can be used for delivering them from airfield to airfield. So if you wanted to do some air logistics to bring critical supplies from one airfield to the next, you can do that on these paratrooper planes. And the light bomber. It says light bomber, but they're pretty similar. I think it has a slightly lower bomb drop rate, but its maneuverability is better. But they're pretty similar, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. This one has 2 machine guns, one on the rear and one on the top. It does not have one on the front.
Thanks, babe.
All right. It's time to talk about the next big feature of the Airborne update, which we'll start up with a video here.
Oh shit, Mighty, what is it gonna be? World expansion, new multi-region. Holy shit. Ouais. Le monde s'agrandit. Uh-oh. Big new regions. Island. There's some island. Wow, new island, new region.
So we only showed a couple of new regions there, but there's quite a few.
10 new region, holy
Yes,
shit.
10 in fact, but more than that technically because we had to alter some of the existing maps a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot more changes to the world than just adding 10 new map regions.
Holy
but,
shit,
Why
shit.
don't you
10
talk a little bit of our motivation
region.
for adding these new regions, Max?
Yeah, sure. So, we really liked the symmetrical view of the world, but it was we had to add some more maps because something we were feeling was that the naval gameplay was getting somewhat suffocated. Like there wasn't enough space to really maneuver. We watched a bunch of you guys' really great YouTube videos talking about the naval battles, and they tended to happen across 2 regions, even 3 regions, even. Which is super awesome, but like that's the whole ocean. We needed more space if we're going to add aircraft to it, which could cross 1 or 2 regions or more, right? So we had to somehow add space, but we didn't want to take away from the land game, so we felt like we had no choice. We had to expand out. We had to create more playable ocean space so that you guys could have battles that didn't play out the same way every time.
I mean, and one of the big things that has been talked about before is more ocean space. Like that's something I've seen a lot of players talking about since before naval, even just having more.
It's kind of crazy.
Tiles in general, so this was a good time.
10 nouvelles régions. Il arrive bientôt à mon 42. Moi, j'ai 42 régions. Les autres, ils ont genre 32 régions.
Airborne gameplay.
And
so, one of the cool side effects of this is we get to explore a little bit more of some regions in the lore that maybe we hadn't previously. So, a lot of the new, I think all of the new northern regions are, and all the southern region, all the southern maps except for Michael's Isle are in Valley, so we have even more
le gazon, il ressemble plus pareil. Genre, ils ont updaté
and
leur
some
gazon,
people who may have followed the
des choses
development
qu'on
and
est
all the way back
habitué de
to
voir partout. Comme ça file un petit peu le nouveau.
our older map concept art will recognize some of the names that show up.
Sinon, tout le monde se lancerait dans
Okay,
les
I'm gonna
nouvelles régions
actually
pour
show
aller
the
voir
new
les
map
nouveaux beaux
before you
graphiques, les
guys
nouveaux arbres, les nouveaux gazons.
Yeah, well, and one thing I will say too is some of the visuals are still work in progress, so just keep that in mind as we go into the dev branches.
Ça agrandit ses sides.
Yeah, same with this map image. This is a work in progress, so you'll notice the mountains are really hard to see. That's just work in progress. But you can, I think, if you zoom in, you can get a good idea of what's being changed here. I think the main thing you want to look at is how. Take a look at the roads on these new larger islands, these multi-region large items. They're somewhat different. I'll let you guys speculate about what that means. You'll notice we've had some places. We made fingers basically a whole island because of how awesome it was and how much you loved it. But what we really loved about the fingers, we noticed from a lot of you guys' gameplay, was that fingers reached into Reaver's Pass, and that was a big part of the reason that people really focused on it, and it was the center of so much conflict. And we really liked that, so we kind of did the same thing in several places here. We wanted to reach into the mainland so that you guys, when you take this island, it actually has meaning. Taking this larger island means like an easier jump off point for actually getting back onto the mainland.
All right. Are we done yet, Max? I think maybe we have a bit more here. Yeah, actually, there is something cool here where we talk a lot about this update, about about planes, about the graphical overhaul, about the new maps, and there is actually a second update we worked on to include in this Airborne update, and we're gonna show it to you now.
Fucking mines on the sea! Holy shit! Yeah. Yo, so many boats! Plein de nouveaux bateaux! Une grosse update de même, oui, par année. Mais il fasse une couple de petites updates sur par année. No way. Fucking siege boat. No.
All right, Naval Warfare Part 2, Max.
It just keeps going. No, this is not really Naval Warfare
No,
Part
it's
2.
not.
This is
Overselling it,
let's.
yeah.
And that's not all though. But anyway, that's just a teaser.
We would love to come back to naval warfare, but this is not that. So this is what we really wanted to expand on was the early war naval gameplay specifically. A lot of you guys, we watched some of the early game naval gameplay, and it was lacking. We saw barges with leaking grenades, basically. That was the
You don't like the barge
culmination.
battles, Max?
No, I really hated the barge battles for so long. So now we wanted to expand on this. We wanted to give there to add. We wanted there to be an actual game in the Navy in the early start of the game. We wanted to give more accessible naval options. Like these were. The smaller groups of players don't want to build a giant destroyer to get into the naval game. But they want more than just the gunboat. So this is for them. And we wanted to give the scout planes a dedicated combat function because we don't want scout planes to really stifle the infantry gameplay in the early game, like over land. So we wanted to really emphasize a purpose and a combat role that wasn't going to just be kill infantry and do strafing runs. So these guys, that's why they get the surface mine and the mini torpedo. Their main role is in this early war naval game. So we've got a new kind of mine, which is a surface mine, which is used for countering small ships. We've got an underwater mine, which you guys have seen, but now you can place it on the surface. But this mine is what's used for countering larger ships, or large ships. And all these mines can be placed as splines now and maintained as structures. So you don't just place them down and they last for 2 days. They have to be maintained with maintenance supplies, and they can be destroyed with damage. So they're an actual structure now.
Have to be maintained. Ah, damn it! This should be 24-hour.
Scout for these minefields. Ships. We have a lot of different ships, as you saw in the video, that have different specific roles, like anti-air, anti-ship, and shore bombardment. And we added a new light freighter, which is meant to deliver crates directly from one seaport to another seaport in smaller amounts. It can also deliver crates directly from a seaport to a storage ship, which is the bluefin, which you can use to support your naval landings.
All right.
So here's the mine boat. This was really cool. The work that was done on this is exemplary, and it was we used some of the stuff that comes from the construction equipment. So there's a really cool animation where the mines sort of drop off the back and then get submitted to the build site. But we'll let you guys sort of give that a shot. It's got a machine gun on the back, which can help protect it against scout planes. The light freighter I explained a little bit earlier. It represents the crates themselves are represented on the deck of the ship. So if you're attacking a light freighter, you actually know if it's full. Really cool. There's a lot of those memes of like, oh, my bluefin was empty, but now this one there's no denying if you killed something with value. The light boat. This is used predominantly for escorting ships. This is pretty effective at countering like any aircraft, really. So it's useful for escorting like the larger ships as well. This one's pretty fast. It uses a new type of ammo that is specific for countering aircraft. It shreds the scout planes, so if you see one of these, avoid it. Similar for the Wardens. Theirs is a little bit larger, a little bit tougher, but it performs a similar role, but it's slower.
Drop a little bit of the renders here.
And I like that each of these have deck space that, like, even if you don't want to use it for its intended purpose, you can still walk around on there with guns and use it for anything. It's a sandbox game. The medium boat. So this is the one that's meant to counter other small boats. So think of this kind of like a tank on the water. It's meant to shoot at other ships, the infantry boats, the freighters. It could be used for raiding, but or protecting your logistics chains. It should be noted. Well, I guess we'll get to the next one. So a similar thing for the Warden gunboat or the Warden medium boat. This is like their light tank of the sea, meant to be the premier way of destroying other ships. It's worth mentioning that these are shipyard vehicles. These are not facility. These are all shipyard, right? Because like we don't have vehicles for these ships yet. These are like the base vehicles of these ships. You don't need to build facilities for these.
Yeah, it's accurate to say, Max, that one of the driving forces of this is just to just allow more players to participate in the naval game.
Yep, and they're not even. I could be. Maybe I'll just save that then. I'm not actually completely sure, but it's meant to be accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
And the siege boat. So there's a bombardment. There's a way to bombard the shore with these things. These are all early game vehicles, I should note. These are like very early game. Think like the first couple days of the war, you'll be able to run these. So they have these bunker busters early war.
No way,
they are
this
extremely
is early
powerful,
war
busting things
vehicles.
open near the shoreline, and that's intended so that you guys can still potentially perform naval landings early on in the game, but they're limited to the sea. And remember, there are sea mines. So even though there's quite a powerful shore bombardment weapon now, remember there's also ways to protect against these sort of things. We did a colonial gunboat.
What's different about this one, Max?
It has an interior space, which nobody asked for. There has been an ongoing complaint that the Warden gunboat is just superior in every way, and one of the main criticisms was that it has this interior space where players can be protected. So we tried our best to alter it in days past, and you'll notice that we still use it in the shore bombardment ship. So we've just changed its role to something new, and instead in place we've given you this brand new colonial gunboat. So they should be way more symmetrical, the colonial gunboat and the Warden gunboat. And these gunboats, the gunboats are important. They are still the only way for small ships to attack large ships. All of these other ships, they're not going to be effective at killing large ships. The large ships are still, when you see them, they still should dominate. And here's the Warden siege boat. This is the Warden equivalent of the shore bombardment one. Again, remember, this is early war. They will be powerful, but there are mines now to mitigate against them. It's cool that you can actually see the mines on the deck. It's not shown in this render, but that little pallet there, you can put the shells down. You actually have to walk them to the gun, which is really neat for a small ship. We didn't want to leave the large ships out in the cold. There's a lot of changes that we made to the large ships, but again, this is not the major. We'd love to make more changes to large ships, but these were the ones we needed to make now. We felt like the damage control gameplay, for players who are doing damage control, we felt like it was just way too rudimentary. It was too one-dimensional. So we wanted to give you guys more stuff to think about, more things to prioritize, and we wanted to address some key criticisms about large holes. So large holes can now be repaired with metal beams, but if a new leak opens in that compartment, it will reopen the large hole. So you'll still want to take these things to dry dock to repair them, but the large holes won't be as devastating as they were before. You'll still, we just didn't want you guys bailing water 100% of the operation. We just needed to give you an option to disable that. The disabled turrets can now be repaired, but it will take a large number of metal beams. So losing a turret in the midst of a fight will still be devastating, and will still give damage control crews something to think about. But you can repair it so that losing a turret doesn't mean the end of the operation. You'll be able to reload all the barrels at once with a longer reload time. We did this because we wanted, again, we want the damage control crews to feel like they have more things to think about. So you want to communicate to the gunners. You don't want the gunner to just keep hitting whenever they can. You want to tell them when to reload because all 3 shells are in. So give you guys more stuff to think about and do. And of course, that I mentioned this earlier, the underwater mine can be placed on the surface, so now you need to be aware of mines. So keep an eye out. You want people on the decks looking out for those mines.
It's mine.
Alright, this brings us to the final feature and piece of content for the Airborne update. One last thing, which I think everyone's going to be hopefully excited about.
Woo!
Let's go.
What the fuck? This is crazy! The crane in the middle, yo, you can shoot the fucking plane from your fucking boat. Oh shit!
No way. This is fucking awesome. This is fucking awesome. Holy shit. So fucking much place. Yo, we can dance. We can do a fight club right on the boat now. This is... No way. Thank you. Come again. Have a nice day. Holy shit.
Yes.
The Poseidon. Nobody asked for this. Holy shit.
This has never been mentioned by anyone ever. No one's ever wanted these vehicles in the game.
Holy fuck. Yo, Dev man, good man.
So this one is you'll have there's two aircraft that can launch from this: the dive bomber and the fighter plane. So there's an advantage to being able to launch the
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a,
fighter plane. That's the premier weapon for bombing runs and aircraft. So being able to launch a basic fighter plane the dive bombers, you'll also be able to launch from this thing to help attack assist against ships. Yeah, and you can rearm your as well. And we spent some time, a lot of time trying to like fine tune how hard it is to take off and land on these things. It will take a challenge. It will take a lot of skill. But
No way.
And it's
Yo, where's the Warden one? Come on, what the fuck? What's the Warden one?
feels great.
We need to defend our own land. Those invader got big cocks. We need them too. We need ones too.
The Warden aircraft carrier. So like I mentioned earlier, the Wardens get an extra fighter, something that the Colonials simply don't. And now I hope it becomes clear why.
This is fucking weird that one faction gets stuff that the other faction doesn't get. Why are you doing this to me? Why?
Land next to the ship, and then you'll be able to crane it back up on and rearm it, and then
Is that
bring along these things. It's a lot easier to take off and land with these. And again, you don't have to use the aircraft. These aircraft you can fly off and you can rearm places. But having this aircraft carrier is what's going to enable your naval fleets to bring the aircraft with you, to have that mobile airfield that allows you to rearm and refuel right next to the front and allow the aircraft.
Is that a loading screen? This looks like a loading screen. So we get this. The Lancha. The Lancha.
Brings us to the release date.
Holy shit, release date.
Airborne
9 février. Woo! Direct pour la Saint-Valentin. Right on time for St. Valentine's Day.
And
Man.
something else to talk about. So
On va
we've been
être
working on
ensemble.
Foxhole for a long time, and to celebrate the 10 years of Foxhole development, we're going to be launching a special edition of the game on Steam. And this edition is
Yep.
for
All the
our
boyfriends
fellow
gonna
players,
play Foxhole instead of
returning
passing
gamers
time with
that
their
have been
girlfriend.
with us for years who want to support the
Playing with
project,
small
and,
planes.
support
The
the
supporter
update,
edition?
a few extra things, and we'll
Yo,
talk
take
about
my
those
fucking
things.
bottle
There's
caps,
gonna be
Foxhole.
a art book, and this is really cool. It's going to be hundreds of pages of concept art from the history of the game over the 10 years. And
It's really great because I ran out of friends to buy Foxhole to. You know, I bought Foxhole to all of my friends just to support the team, just to support fucking Siege Camp. So now that I can buy the supporter edition, let's go! Take my bottle caps.
Local to Toronto, which we're based out of, and he's been working with us for the 10 years, making music all the way from the first trailer we launched to the updates throughout the year, and the Inferno update, new tracks were added, and we just even up until last year or a year and a half ago, we added some new tracks.
Take
So all
my money.
that's included in one place here. So,
I mean, as a fun fact, since we're on the topic, Ron has actually also worked with us on our previous games as well, and will be working with us in the future on Anvil. So it's a long-term collaborator.
Some wallpaper.
And we're also going to be
Woohoo!
including some new illustrations that are focused on the lore side of Foxhole. These are really cool. The concept art team has worked really hard on this. And
Yeah,
some of these
horse.
descriptions are
When
just
horse?
really amazing. I've just been completely blown away. And we're just really excited that we're going to be able to give this to you guys.
Yo, what the fuck? There's a horse
Phone
on that picture.
and your desktop.
Horse confirmed next update.
And
Tout le monde va juste parler de cheval.
there's
Prochaine grosse update.
there's 2 in-game things, and these are again in theme with Foxhole's development history. First is you're going to be able to change your UI to be themed, like prior updates. So this includes entrenchment, arms race, winter army, inferno, and basically all the major update themes are going to be included here. You can switch in the UI, you can randomize it, and it's just a cool thing to be able to change it back in game. And finally, there's going to be a supporter badge to show that you have been a supporter of the game.
Supporter.
And
I've been a supporter.
There's no skins, there's no season pass type stuff. This is all just some things to celebrate the long history of Foxhole development. And
10 years, boys.
be,
I'm so happy. You guys
it's going to be coming on
influenced so
November
many
9th,
decisions in
the
my
page
life.
will be coming up now
Crazy.
on Steam, and you can go there and add it to your wish list so you can be notified to get it on launch day. And again, this edition is for longtime players who want to support the project. And if you are able to get it, I do want to note that a lot of the content here has been available on the website or in blog form for free for some time. A lot of the concept art, every major update, we do a blog post that contains all the concept art for the update, and that's not going to change. That's we're going to be doing one of those posts for this update as well, and that's going to remain free, as well as some of the music tracks you can also get on our website. So that stuff is going to change.
There will probably be a lot of new insights and look into the development that I don't know that we've talked about before, or concepts that
there are new things that are part of this, but just wanted to clarify that we're not going to be taking away anything or doing less. So that's basically it. And let's see what we have. Oh yeah, so just to talk about the schedule, a couple of things happening in the next couple of weeks. First, the Airborne gameplay trailer, official trailer, voiced by Jeffrey Jennings from Press Corps, who has once again, we're very grateful that they've helped us with the trailer, voiced by and that's something that will be dropping, I think, any moment, and hopefully we can get that into chat, because it's an amazing, well, I think the voiceover is amazing. I like the trailer too, but the voiceover always just sort of elevates these trailers so much. So, and after this stream, there's going to be a Q&A on the Foxhole Reddit. January 20th, Dev Branch opens with the pre-patch war, and we're also going to be doing a concept art dev blog post, and the date's February 5th. That may change depending on our schedule. I didn't mark that as a tentative thing, but that will be coming one way or another. And like I said, we're gonna continue to post our concept art on our blog. And then finally, February 9th is the launch day. And then the one thing that we do want to stress is that we do have new updates coming in 2026. This is there is actually some content and features that we initially wanted to do for the Airborne update, but we couldn't. But that's starting to shape up into some content and feature that is going to be coming through 2026. And I think that is about it. So yeah, again, this is the end of the stream, but everybody, encourage you to go over and watch the Airborne trailer, as it's cool. And that's it, Matt.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And the Dev Branch will be launching in parts soon. And so we'd love to get your feedback on all of the features that we will be sharing with the Dev Branch, so that we can make sure that your voices are also heard on all of that stuff. And I've had to say this in a while, so it's I gotta like loosen up a little bit before I kind of like, get into it.
Stretch.
You know?
Crack your neck.
Yeah, you just gotta. But as always, stay foxy. See you next time.
Oh, god damn it, I was mute. Alright, that was crazy. GG, everybody. It's my birthday, so I guess I'm going. I have to peace out. So have a great one, everybody. I'll talk to you all pretty soon. Make sure to subscribe. And that was a great birthday gift for today. That stream, it was crazy. Alright, peace out. Can't wait for the future of Foxhole.